especially as that jet stream comes across. But, oh, hey, everybody. Yeah, we're sitting here discussing our thoughts on the severe thunderstorms and tornado warnings. It looks like the warning, which is now over northern Pickens County, is a severe thunderstorm warning, and with good reason. A lot of this is actually showing indication that the tornado portion of the storm is wrapping up. Now, the one that's moving over the radar site right now, which is in Columbus, Mississippi, just southeast of Amory.
Get a better look at it with the Birmingham radar.
Yeah, that's still got a pretty defined hook. Now, that is south and west of Hamilton, but that storm is actually on a trajectory to take it across northern Lamar and then eastern Marion County. Excuse me. Hamilton would probably miss the potential tornado if it's still rotating. And Nate, can you explain to folks
Sure.
why these storms all of a sudden just go away?
Yeah, well, what we have in place is a very strong, what we call low-level jet in Mississippi, and that's kind of feeding these storms. It's adding to the rotation of them, and we just don't have that kind of atmosphere over Alabama right now. So when you lose one ingredient, it doesn't matter if it's a major player in the tornado formation and how they stay afloat. It could be a major component. It doesn't matter. If you lose one of those ingredients, that tornado is going to fall apart very, very quickly. And that's basically what we've got. What we were talking about earlier is overrunning or outrunning the low-level jet that's in place, and that's what these storms are doing right now. They're moving about 50 miles per hour, but if you don't have the upper level or lower level support to feed these tornadoes, they're just going to fall apart. And like you said, it is good news that that's the case, but still, the tornado or the severe thunderstorm warned area of North Pickens County, you're going to see some pretty heavy rainfall. You're going to see some gusty winds and also a lot of hail too, most likely with this storm.
Well, that's going to be my question. With the storms, kind of, it's great news that the tornado threat may be dying out a bit, but we're still looking at like a lot of rain and a lot of.
Oh, sure, absolutely. And this is just part one of what we're expecting tonight. We've got these discrete, what we call discrete supercell thunderstorms that are producing these tornadoes or severe thunderstorm warnings. But we're expecting a line of storms to move through, kind of like we saw last night, but we think a little bit more intense. And you can start to see that line almost taking shape to the west out there near the Mississippi River. We expect this line to move through Alabama late tonight, very, very early tomorrow morning for a lot of folks. And that's the danger when you have a line moving through in the middle of the night. A lot can happen that people might not be prepared for. So that's why we want everyone to be ready. Have several ways to get warnings. We want you to be on air with us, online as well, WIAT.com. We've got a warning scrolling at the top of the screen as well. We're going to be streaming live on Facebook Live if we have to go wall-to-wall, so to speak, for coverage this evening. So there's a lot of ways to get warnings. Weather radios, your cell phone is a great lifeline. So make sure that thing's plugged in right now. It's charging right now. So overnight you can get warnings if they're issued.
All right, let's talk real briefly, just to get kind of nerdy for you. We wanted to show you these areas of thunderstorms, like this one west of Reform. I want you to look at that green. See how that green just runs out? That means the upper level winds have taken that moisture out of that storm and carried it. So that is the jet stream doing its part. This is a diffluent pattern. So with the diffluent pattern, that means it can help accelerate thunderstorm lift. So we're watching that, and of course, I tell you what, let me change the opacity here so you can see these a little better. But that's one, there's the other, and then we've got this one here. So that tells you which way the winds are blowing. Now, as we get a little bit later into this evening and into tonight, what will happen is, just imagine if, well, let's just put this here. What's happening across the southeast is winds are going this direction, and going this direction, and this direction. Well, as these storms get away from that wind, that's when they start to lose their shear and they don't have as much in the way of rotation. So we're waiting for this jet stream to start coming over Alabama, and as it does, that will help add and accelerate the winds over our area. Will there be thunderstorms in place? Will it all line up? Well, that's the magic question, that our $1 million question we're always wanting to know. And I think right now we see that the potential is there, but right now this is good news. I am being honest about the potential of tornadoes. I always want to let you know that, but I don't want people to be overly alarmed. But this is a good example of these storms coming through. If they come through here and kind of settle the atmosphere down a little bit, that will help take some of the energy out of it. So, but then again, the jet stream is driving all this, so we have to watch where the jet is. It will, as I mentioned, that jet stream will start to slide over. It's about 10, 15,000 feet above the ground, and as it slides over, that is going to increase the lift and rotation here in Alabama. So we're going to watch this very carefully. Got time for a couple of questions real quick.
I mean, people, you're kind of answering a few of them. It's just people kind of asking when it's moving into the area. You mentioned that there's kind of a second line potential. Just what's the time frame necessarily on the overnight threat?
Well, that's a great question, Sebastian. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, here's a look at the storms as they move through. Now, this is a forecast model. These are the guesstimates, what the models are telling us, what the computer expects will happen by putting all the parameters together and looking at the grids and seeing where there would be moisture. You'll see that by roughly about 2 a.m. it moves into our northwest counties, and then this line gradually moves towards the east. Could have gusty winds with it. That's what we're going to have to watch for. And then as that line gets into Birmingham, roughly 5 to 6 a.m., it's going to be wet for the commute. Then the line starts to fall apart. Then we've got another round of showers east of I-65 tomorrow, at least through 1 to 2 o'clock, before we get all of this pushed out of here, and then we get back into a colder scenario with lows headed back down into the 30s. So that's one good sign. All right, next question.
Somebody said this is. I think we mentioned this in one of the earlier ones, but this is now going to be another day of rain. What does that really mean for the drought that we're currently in?
Huge. The drought is, and as Nate has talked about, you have to chip away at it.
Far from over. Far
Yeah.
from over. But we saw some rainfall totals yesterday, 3, 4 inches in some spots around here. Some of the places that picked up the least amount of rain got 1.5 inches. So that's some good stuff. We had 2 rounds of rain last night. We had that one squall line move through right around 10 o'clock, and we had a secondary cluster of showers. Excuse me, cluster showers that moved through and gave us a good dousing of rain. But we're so far behind. Some spots in central Alabama, 12, 13, 14, 15 inches below normal.
And let me show something here because you got a good point. We had rain down in Calera that was roughly 4 inches. So down here in Calera, 4 inches. Now, where we get our recording of the Birmingham rainfall total is here at the airport. So, with that in mind, I'll try to draw a circle. But that's where the rainfall would have to fall for the Birmingham total. Down here, we could have 3 or 4 inches, just like we did in Calera, but there may not have been as much in the Birmingham rain gauge. So it's a little deceiving as far as the drought or as far as rainfall totals, deficits, things like that. So we have to kind of take that with a grain of salt. But it is encouraging. We're starting to see one that will take out the concern of fires in many areas for now, the time being. But we're about to become a little more active in the weather pattern.
Brand new severe thunderstorm warning for northern Lamar and Marion County right now.
All right, so there you have it. Things are starting to pick up a little bit. We'll certainly be watching this very carefully, but that's a great sign because that means
They could have continued that tornado warning.
that means it is not a tornado anymore.
Nope.
And that's great news for the Hamilton area. And what about lightning on that? Oh yeah, there's a lot.
There's a lot of lightning. Yeah, I kind of with these kind of storms, I kind of take that off just to see the structure of the storm. But yeah, there's tons of lightning with it.
Yeah,
There's a bunch.
Detroit. I mean, we're talking Motown's getting a lot of lightning. That's Lamar County, Motown. But we are going to have a severe thunderstorm warning. That's great news. And we will certainly be monitoring this very carefully and keeping you posted. The weather chat shows possible winds of 60 miles per hour, hail 1 inch for both storms. And Nate is updating our social news desk, which is helping to post all this information out there for you guys to see at any time.
Not doing very well at it either.
Well, Nate's
probably 'cause
not.
there's a-
Yeah, he's
there's a
been a little
camera
under the
on
weather, and I think that probably hasn't helped any. I'm worried he's got black lung, but He does have the allergies, just like a lot of us have been battling. So we're going to get back to work. We will keep you posted, and thanks so much for being with us, and we will keep you posted.